Right, 2013, question 7. Looking at the sketch straight away, we've got some sort of a stove and chimney stack detail to draw. So we'll have it read and see what is the important information. A chimney is designed to accommodate a modern wood-burning stove, as shown in the accompanying sketch. The chimney is located at an internal 250mm solid concrete block wall between the living room and the kitchen. The flue from the stove to the main flue liner is 150mm in diameter. The floor is an insulated solid concrete ground floor with 20mm floating hardwood finish. The dimensions of the stove are height 700, width 550 and depth 450. To a scale of 1:5, draw a vertical section through the ground floor, hearth and chimney. Ground floor, hearth and chimney. The section should show the typical construction details from 400mm below the finished floor to a level 300mm above the top of the flue from the stove, and include the connection to the main flue liner in the chimney. Include 3 typical dimensions on your drawing. Part B, indicate clearly on your drawing how the flue liners in the chimney are joined to ensure safe removal of smoke and flue gases. Show an outline of the stove only. It is not necessary to show a detailed drawing of the stove. Now, quite a bit of information there to take in, and a couple of keywords I feel like we need to have a bit of explanation of. We'll read through the question first, again, and underline the keywords. So, a chimney is designed to accommodate a modern wood-burning stove. As shown in the accompanying sketch, the chimney is located at an internal, so it's an internal wall of a house, and it's 215mm solid concrete block wall. So it's not a cavity wall, it's just the inside of a house, and it's a solid block wall between the living room and the kitchen. The flue from the stove to the main flue liner is 150mm in diameter. Now, if we remember from the stack detail, the flue is the pipe work that takes the smoke away. So this flue that goes from the stove to the main flue liner inside the chimney stack is 150mm. Alright, the floor is an insulated solid ground floor, which we're used to drawing, with a 20mm floating hardwood finish. That just means a 20mm hardwood finish. The floating floor is a floor that just rests on a concrete. All wooden floors are floating nowadays. The dimensions of the stove are height 700, width 550 and depth 450. It says there as well down here, don't worry about details of the stove, just draw a rectangle to those dimensions. To a scale of 1:5, draw a vertical section through the ground floor, the hearth and the chimney. The hearth, for anyone who's unsure, is basically the floor of the fireplace. So this here is the hearth, often granite, sometimes maybe a concrete hearth or slate on top of it either. Alright. The section should show the typical construction details from 400mm below the finished floor, so down underneath the floor, to a level 300mm above the top of the flue from the stove, and include the connection to the main flue liner in the chimney. So we have to show how this 150mm diameter pipe is connected into the chimney, which is usually a 200mm diameter pipe. Include 3 typical dimensions in your drawing. We'll look at part B afterwards. Right, now, a couple of those keywords have been explained. We'll have a little sketch about how to go about doing this. I get quite off-putting that question, the way it's been put, a lot of information. The best thing is to take it one step at a time. It says it's an internal wall of a house. On one side you've got a living room, on the other side I think it's a kitchen or some other room. So down the middle of my page, I'm going to draw a 215mm solid concrete wall. Not a cavity wall, nothing like that. It's a solid concrete wall, so they use quite big blocks on that floor. Alright, the height of the blocks, as always, 225. Draw up a couple of those blocks, and we are to make sure that we go 400mm underneath the ground floor, if I've read it correctly. Yeah, okay, so we'll go up 3 blocks just to make sure that that's well below. Floor out that way and floor out that way. Okay, we'll work our way down. If you want to draw a screed in there, you can, but I'll just draw a 150mm concrete slab. We have our 100mm insulation, and we have our 40mm sand blinding, and we have a layer of hardcore. that will bring us well below the level that we need to go to. And that's sun blinding, and one layer of hardcore is enough. If you want to draw those in, there, insulation all the way across there, sun blinding, and your hardcore layer. Obviously that'll go a little bit further down, but we've covered what's been asked of us so far. Now, you can put your stove on either side. It's not going to matter really for the question. Whatever side you choose to put it on, you need to draw a chimney in place. Okay, now this is where there's a bit of room for variation. I'm going to put my stove on this side. Now the chimney, it could go all the way to the ground. It could start up at a certain height. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw the chimney as if it's all the way to the ground first of all. So we'll start building the block work in place. The chimneys that's built into this here, straight away we're not going to have a block work here. We're going to have that sand, cement and lime mix is going to be here first. So about 60 millimeters. Draw a line lightly down there. Then you've got your flue liner, so with 200 millimeters there. 60 millimeters for your mix of sand, cement and lime, and then 100 millimeters for the block work. All right, for the moment I'm going to extend it all the way to the bottom. I might necessarily extend it all the way down for my design. There is lots of room for variation on this. Leave that as it is for the moment, that position. Next I'm going to draw my stove into place. Now I'm starting to get a little bit tighter space. To draw my stove into position, I'm going to move a little bit over from there, have a bit of a gap so you can have a bit of pipe work on in there, and draw the rectangular shape of the stove. Now I'm going to do it quite narrow because I'm a bit tight on space, but the specific size of the stove is given in the question. It says a height of 700, a width of 550 and a depth of 450. So there's a height of 700 and a depth of 450. The width doesn't really matter in this case. That's in position. Lightly draw that first of all because we have to draw our heart. Now your heart, as always, will extend a little bit past the stove. Go up there again. The height of your heart can vary. Go up say 100 millimeters or maybe less if you want, and draw your line all the way across, and that's just the granite heart for the stove. Alright, so stove is in place. Now when it comes to the flue liner for the stove, you know, the sketch, you can see that the pipework comes up like that and across. It might leave you tight for space to get that in, but a lot of stoves have the pipework just comes out of the back and up into the chimney as well. Alright, either one is completely fine. There's different variations on how it's done, and I always prefer to do it out from the back and in up through it. So just measure down a certain distance, make a judgment yourself there, and I'm going to draw a pipework in through there, 150 mil diameter. It says in the question, so that pipe is 150 millimeters in diameter. All right, now this pipe is going to go up into there, so I'm going to make my chimney stop just a little bit above that. So at this point I just want to show you what a flue gathering lintel looks like on a chimney. We all know what a lintel is. When it comes to above doors and windows, it sort of supports the structure when it's going over a gap, and this here is what's called a flue gathering lintel. It rests over two little walls, all right, and that is the same as a lintel, and what it does is it allows you to build up the rest of the chimney stack from there, so your flue gathering lintel is in place there. Alright, so at that point there I'm going to build in a flue gathering lintel. You can see on that detail layer of the fireplace, your flue gathering lintel is there, and then the block work and so on can be built up on top of that. This actual fireplace is a bit outdated. They don't really ask for fireplaces anymore because it's mostly stoves in these drawings. So just a little bit above that pipework, I'm going to draw a flue gathering lintel all the way across to there. Again, just keep it simple in size and shape. Make your own judgment. There's some reinforced steel inside it. You've got your flue gathering lintel there also. Alright, and from there that will allow you to show the structure of the chimney a bit better. Inside, well, it shows us where we're going to go. So inside there you can draw your flue liners, which we're now familiar with drawing. and it says to go a certain height above that. Don't forget to draw maybe the joint between one flue liner in place there as well. That joint like that, which we've drawn before. Okay, and that's going to help us with that detail there. At this point, the flue liner is 200 mil wide, so this pipe needs to turn around up here. If you want to freehand in those corners as best you can, and there's like a joining piece where you can kind of, it starts to widen out. You can get these pieces that join out and widen out, and that's bonded into place there. So like a connection piece is used there to widen this 150 out to the sides of the flue liner, and that the smoke is guided out there. All right. Now that block work will be just extended down here then underneath that, so you can just show the position of the wall there as well, and that's just shown by these structures here. So there's like that structure underneath the lintel as well of block work. All right, that's in the the fireplace chapter in your book. That pretty much covers it. It's a couple of small bits, get your labels in there, and other bits and pieces. That's what it looks like now. As I said, there's lots of room for variation. You can design basically what way the pipework is going to work for your chimney yourself. If you look at the marking scheme in the book, it could differ slightly, and you can look at different ways of doing that as well. But that pretty much covers generally how it's done, and everything is explained in that. Part B, it says explain that joint, which I've explained in a previous video, how the flue liners are joined together. Maybe a little sketch of that and point it out. I'll just show you the final solution there. It's quite a big drawing. It's scale 1:5. So you've got your wall going up there, and you've got the floor on the left hand side, floor on the right hand side, and you've got the hearth. There's the stove. There's the blockwork on the bottom. There's the flue gathering lintel. The pipework just comes in along up there, and it's fixed into those. So you can see that. And part B is explained here, and there's a point, it's pointed out in that point. All right, so have a look at that question. A bit off-putting a start, but again, quite manageable. If done once, you can do it several times afterwards. So have a go with that one.